We are outside the federal courthouse here in Grand Rapids as the jury continues to deliberate whether or not State Representative Larry Inman is innocent or guilty of 3 federal charges. We did get word just about an hour ago the jury plans to be here through at least the lunch hour today. They also had several questions for the judge in this case. They wanted to know where the indictment fell in the timeline of this case. They also had a scheduling question for the judge, as one juror appears to not be able to be here tomorrow if deliberations continue. And they also wanted an explanation or some clarification on the difference between counts 1 and 2 that Inman is facing. Count 1 is soliciting a bribe. Count 2 is extortion. And after a brief explanation from the judge, a brief discussion, the jury headed back into deliberations. There is really no indication from the jury as to how close they are on a verdict either way on any of the 3 charges. But again, we do know they plan to be here deliberating into the afternoon. We will be here as well into the afternoon and into the evening as long as the jury deliberates today and until we get word that there is a verdict or that the jury will continue their deliberations tomorrow. For now, live in downtown Grand Rapids, David Leiden, 9 and 10 News. Some big developments just within the last 15 minutes inside the courthouse here in Grand Rapids. The jury's been at this for 11 and a half hours, and they have just informed the judge they have reached a verdict on count 3, that is the lying to the FBI charge, but the jury says they are hung on counts 1 and 2, that is the solicitation of a bribe and the extortion charge. Just to get those charges right, I'm going to read off my notepad here. Now, remember, those are the 2 charges that the jury asked the judge about for clarification earlier in the day. Now, here's what the judge is going to do. He asked the jury to go back into deliberation for about the next 45 minutes to see if they could reach a verdict on counts 1 and 2. You really got the sense from the judge he did not want this deliberation to really drag into another day. And there's also a potential scheduling conflict with one of the jurors that could potentially send these deliberations back to square one. The judge also noting this is actually the longest deliberation he has seen since he's been on the federal bench. So we should have an answer within the next 30 to 45 minutes as to where the jury is leading, if they will take the guilty or the innocent verdict on count 3, and what their decision is on counts 1 or 2, guilty or innocent, or if there is a mistrial on both of those counts. We'll be back here live once we have that update from the courtroom here in Grand Rapids. For now, live in Grand Rapids, David Leiden, 9 and 10 News. Here are the verdicts read just moments ago in Grand Rapids on counts 1 and 2. The jury is hung. Those are the soliciting of a bribe and extortion charges. On count 3, lying to the FBI, the one verdict the jury was able to come to an agreement on. They have found Larry Inman not guilty of lying to the FBI. That verdict read just moments ago. The judge declaring a mistrial on the other 2 counts, the soliciting a bribe and the extortion count. You'll remember those were the counts the jury had questions on earlier in the day and went back to do more deliberation on. This decision comes after more than 12 hours of deliberation by the jury, and the judge saying the jury here simply gave it their all. But again, just to quickly recap, counts 1 and 2, soliciting a bribe and extortion, the jury is hung. The judge has declared a mistrial on count 3. State Representative Larry Inman found not guilty of lying to the FBI in this lengthy case. We are going to be working to speak with Representative Inman and his attorney, Chris Cook, after this verdict came down here in Grand Rapids. For now, live in downtown Grand Rapids, David Leiden, 9 and 10 News. Good evening from outside the federal courthouse here in Grand Rapids, where that verdict came down less than an hour ago. This verdict came after more than 12 hours of deliberation by the jury on counts 1 and 2. Those were the soliciting a bribe and extortion charges. The jury was hung. They could not reach a decision after their deliberations, and that led to the judge declaring a mistrial on those 2 counts. On count 3, that is the lying to the FBI charge, the jury found Representative Larry Inman not guilty of lying to the FBI. We spoke to the representative from Grand Traverse County just a short time ago. Here's what he had to say.
I'm really happy with the decision, and I'm relieved that hopefully this is over. I can get back to my life, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to the legislature and serving the residents of the 104th District.
Now, Representative Inman said he is planning to return to the legislature. You just heard him say that there. He said he also is planning to speak with Speaker of the House Lee Chatfield about his committee assignments being restored, getting his office back in Lansing, and getting to return to his duties at the state capitol. He said he's not sure when he will head back to Lansing. That could be this week, or that could be a little bit later down the road. Now, because of the mistrial on the first two counts, the soliciting a bribe and the extortion charge, the federal government could retry Representative Inman, but we spoke with his attorney. There has not been a definitive date set if the federal government decides to retry Representative Inman on both of those charges. That is the latest here from Grand Rapids. You will hear more from Representative Inman, as well as what his attorney had to say after the verdict, coming up tonight on 9 and 10 News at 10. For now, we are live in downtown Grand Rapids. David Leiden, 9 and 10 News. Good evening. After more than 12 hours of deliberation here in Grand Rapids, a jury found State Representative Larry Inman not guilty on a charge of lying to the FBI, and they were hung on 2 other charges.
I think it's time to move on with my life and serve my last term.
State Representative Larry Inman walking out of federal court today after a jury found him not guilty of lying to the FBI and found themselves hung on charges of attempted bribery and extortion, leading to a mistrial on those charges.
Really happy with the decision, and I'm relieved that hopefully this is over. I can get back to my life, and I'm really looking forward to getting back to the legislature and serving the residents of the 104th District.
Inman's attorney, Chris Cook, also weighing in on the decision by the jury.
The difficulty with the jury getting hung on counts 1 and 2 is obviously something that is internal to those charges and to the proofs that the government put on. And so I would ask the government to take a close look at whether or not going to put Representative Inman through some more of this nightmare and just draw this to a close.
Inman says he now plans on returning to Lansing.
I certainly will ask the Speaker to reinstate my office and my staff and my assignments as though, the moment before the indictment came out.
Because of the mistrial declared on 2 of the charges, the federal government could retry the representative on those charges, but a date for that has not been set. In Grand Rapids, David Leiden, 9 and 10 News.